Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this City Council meeting to order. May I have the roll call?
Mayor Gotel.
Here.
Council members Elliott.
Here.
Rogie.
Here.
Fitzhenry.
Here.
And Sandal.
Okay, this evening we have a couple of folks who would like to speak at the open forum. Again, please keep your remarks to approximately 3 minutes. Please come up to that mic. Please sign in with your name and address, and then you can speak. I have Mary Gover. Would you please come forward? Thank you. Is the green light on?
Maybe I need to do something to this?
There you go. Okay, you've got it now.
I am Mary Gover. I live at 6711 Lakeshore Drive, south, overlooking the beautiful Wood Lake Nature Preserve. When I was here last month, speaking about the proposed photo ID constitutional amendment, one of you, I think Councilmember Rogie, asked about the claim that, quote, thousands of postal verification cards are returned as undeliverable. Some people have suggested that these returned postcards represent imaginary or perhaps deceased voters. I've come tonight to tell you that both the claimed number of returned postcards and the suggested reason for their return are inaccurate. As you may know, postal verification cards are sent as non-forwardable mail each time voters register to vote or change their registration. The purpose is to verify each voter's address. If a postcard is returned as undeliverable without an obvious reason, the county auditor is required to investigate to determine whether the voter was eligible to vote. There are legitimate reasons for returned postcards. Chief among them that the voter has moved since the election, even if only to another wing of the same assisted living facility. Because it sometimes is as much as 3 or 4 months after an election before a county completes their mailing. Or another reason for return postcards can be simply mistakes in data entry, sometimes due to a registrant's illegible handwriting, sometimes just data entry error. We all make mistakes. If the county auditor cannot determine that the voter was eligible, the case must be turned over to the county attorney, who is required to investigate and prosecute if there is cause. Starting in 2010, county auditors were required to notify the Office of the Secretary of State of the number of postcards turned over to their county attorneys for that reason. In 2010, the number of postcards turned over to county attorneys was 399, not thousands. I strongly believe that every eligible voter should be enabled to vote and to have that vote counted. I therefore urge you to oppose the photo ID amendment in November. Thank you.
Thank you. And did you sign in, Mary? Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor, because she used my name specifically, I want to respond to that. It would have been really nice if you'd called me up and told me what you thought your facts were. I didn't say anything about Hennepin County. So I don't know what you're using for your information, but I'm certainly going to go back and watch the city council meeting and find out what you're referring to.
I'm sorry.
All I care about is that people who are voting are supposed to be voting. That's simply all I care about.
That is what I was addressing.
Right. Well, it would have been nice if you'd given me a heads up what your concerns were.
Yes, sir.
We have another speaker, Lois Howard.
I couldn't hear her at all. Are they supposed to be able to hear, or just you?
We hear you.
We hear you just fine through there.
No, she's asking if they should be able to hear him.
Well, they should.
It's a directional mic, ma'am. It's a directional mic, so you have to talk into the front of it.
Okay, I'll try.
There you go.
Okay.
First of all, I want to talk about racism, which they're trying to
Would you
bring
please state your
into
name and your address?
Lois Howard, 6305 Thomas, Richfield.
Thank you.
They're trying to bring racist into this development, which is so far from the truth. I sent a flyer to every member here, whether they got it at their home or not, copying a letter of the day in the Tribune. It was called Scattered Affordable Housing Can Fight Persistent Segregation. The 1935 Minneapolis planning map, to which U.S. Representative Keith Ellison refers, North Side needs leaders who share its values. That was May 23rd. Circles the North Side with the caption, Slum Negro Section, largest in the city. The fact that this map shows our economic and racial segregation so long ago says volumes about why today we top the nation in category after category for racial disparity and are among the most segregated cities in the nation. Today's Minneapolis planning maps would look the same, except the segregated area is now larger. Economic and racial segregation results in systemic disparities in resources and opportunities. Segregation is the root cause of our many disparities. Housing is the key factor we have to use to maintain the appalling disparity. That will never change until we end economic and racial segregation by creating scattered, affordable housing in the suburbs and throughout the state. And one other question, on TIF financing. I was reading the paper that somebody here brought on it. Where when they pay taxes on this development, they go to the city of Richfield, is that correct? The taxes?
Ma'am, we don't answer questions here at the forum. It's a chance for you to speak and make an opinion.
Pardon?
But I would definitely have staff address your concerns after the meeting, but we don't answer questions here and have a conversation. This
But
is
how
about
are
hearing.
people to know if you don't
They
answer
can
the question?
ask. They can ask. They can ask.
Because
This is an
if it
open forum
doesn't-
for only
Well, I'm
speaking
just going to
now.
make a statement then.
Okay, please
If it
do.
does not go into the general fund, then the education system doesn't get any money from the taxes from TIF developments. If I'm wrong, they can correct me on that.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, council, I need to ask, this is a precedent-setting issue here. We have other folks who would like to speak, approximately 4 of them, regarding the Pillsbury Common. This is an issue that is already on the agenda. We do not usually allow people to speak on things that are already going to be addressed on the agenda. However, we have 4 folks who would like to come up. It's council's decision. Yes, ma'am?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. As long as they're not repetitive, is that okay? I'll call the next person up. Ghislaine Ball? I can wait until later. No, this is not. Name, address, and please do not repeat yourself, and please keep your comments brief.
I apologize.
Thanks.
I wanted to talk briefly about
Name and address first, thanks.
Ghislaine Ball, 7627 Harriet Avenue South. I just want to talk very briefly about some discovery that we made last week about LIRC, which is low-income residential classification. It's a tax designation that essentially will take 40% off the top of any taxes that are paid by this development. So, and that 40% is not an exact number. It does vary. I ran the numbers according to an estimate of 40%. It usually hovers around 38, 39, 40, 41. What this does is that it attaches the property, it is attached to the property for 30 years, and it is a huge tax break that we'll never see from this development. And if you go to the very last page, your tax comparison, what I want to draw your attention to is specifically the very bottom. You'll see city receipts, and we extended it out into 30 years into the future. The total receipts that will be seen by the city if they go with any project that has a LIRC designation is approximately $1.5 million. Any project that does not go forward with a LIRC designation will see $3.7 million. Approximately $2 million difference, $2.2 million difference. The most startling thing about this is that even if we delay any alternate development for 15 years, we could sit on that property and have it be nothing for 15 years. If we proceed with a non-LIRC designated project after that, will still receive more in taxes. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Holly Hanson.
Holly Hanson, 7609 Harriet Avenue. Nice to see you all again. Nice haircut, Mayor. All I wanted to say was, well, you know, some are due, some are due. All I wanted to say is, can you turn on the thingy?
Okay.
There it is. Regarding Section 42 financing, I wouldn't trust anybody, and I'm speaking to my fellow neighbors here in Richfield. I wouldn't trust anybody as to what they're saying, especially Mr. Clark, but I would also double check everything else that you're receiving. And one thing that you will find is if you go to the Hennepin County Library, any Hennepin County Library, one which we have on Nicollet and 70th, or 71st actually, you can look up any of this information in a 5-second Google search regarding TIF financing. I came up with this diagram today, and it talks about just what Jesselyn was talking about, the fact that and look at this, I pulled this offline. I didn't even make this up. It came out for 30 years that we're going to be in the red here as, yeah, I can't remember your name, Mary Lois said, and it kind of supports what Jesselyn is saying. And that's about TIF financing. Section 42, that financing is created by the government. It's a federal program, and Mr. DeSantos and the Sun, and I believe the Patch have also commented on how most of the Richfield Commoners United or the SOS group or whoever is racially motivated. That is not the case. The rules for Section 42 financing specifically state what populations, what income levels are viable renters for this type of a project. That financing states that language. In October, November timeframe, when I believe her name was Kendra, was speaking for Mr. Clark, she came up here and she said, that's a very poor choice of words. If you've been involved with the government, if you've watched any legislation over time, you know that there's no such thing as poor choice of words. They sit down, they go through the verbiage, they mean exactly what they write. There is no discrepancy. That's exactly what they mean. And you can find that out. You don't need to trust me. You don't need to trust anybody here. You can look that up at the Hennepin County Library by Googling it. Just take an extra hour. You'll be very well educated. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Camilo DeSantis.
My name is Camilo DeSantis, 6508 Newton Avenue South. This past weekend, the SOS group distributed another one of their hardcover flyers. Some of the facts that covered were Kensington Place condos go into default, the questionable future of Best Buy, as if it's going to close its doors tomorrow, the Fair Housing Act forbids a disproportionate share of low-income housing in poor and desegregated neighborhoods. And then often said in the material, we are not fighting affordable housing, we are fighting the entire project. Fighting this entire project started on day one. Quote, we are against this project. this doesn't level with, we are not fighting affordable housing. Kensington and Best Buy are part of the signature strategy. Talk about anything that casts the darkest light on the proposal, and along with it, the community as a whole. References to the Fair Housing Act, HUD, and MFHA are mentioned often, citing Pillsbury Commons as violating all the best practices of these three. I have a question. Why in the world did MFHA award $10 million in tax credits to this project if the development is violating all the rules of HUD, MFHA, FAA, and other federal entities? The conclusion is that the SOS strategy is the red herring approach. One person said, do something about Cedar Avenue, with the inference, I think, that Pillsbury Commons will become like Cedar Avenue. Then last week it was cited the public school figures, statistics, illustrating its direct implication, I think, that Pillsbury Commons will make matters even worse in our school system. I don't believe that, and I hope others don't too. The jobs are in Edina and Bloomington. The housing workforce should be built there. Well, I'm concerned about our people living here and not in Edina and Bloomington and other places. And then this is a segregated development. I would like somebody, a city council person or Barry or somebody, please explain to me why this is a segregated development. Workforce families with 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, families who are earning a living. This is a segregated community. I just don't understand it. It just puzzles me. The previous newsletter dealt dealt that some of you folks met with Ron Clark and some didn't. And if the city council has their eyes open, that is not so subtle a form of intimidation, I think. We're watching you, and all. So SOS was against the proposal at the beginning. It is so now. Any changes haven't helped because they are against it no matter what. The question has to be posed to our policymakers. If you think the SOS group is on the right side of this issue, then what vision does the city council have for developing this site if this proposal goes down? What proposals do you have which you have in mind which will make the neighbors happy? I'd be interested to know what that
And
is.
can you wrap up your comments,
Yeah.
please?
My time is up?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I know. I'm sorry. Thank you, though, for coming. Okay. Thank you. It's a lot of passionate people here. Thank you. Ann Doderly.
Hi, my name is Ann Doherty. I live at 6844 James Avenue South. I've lived here all my life, and I work in the school systems. I'm concerned that we need 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom apartments in town in Richfield. My concern is I see really nice families that have come up in the school system, have earned more money, gotten out of a 1-bedroom, well, gotten out of a basement than a 1-bedroom. And it comes to finding a 2-bedroom, it's hard. And at a 3-bedroom, it's non-existent, and they move to Burnsville and Bloomington. The next I hear of them, 2 years later, they're buying a house in Bloomington or Burnsville. Our houses are for sale, and I don't see a block that doesn't have a for sale sign. If we had 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments, families would move into our houses as the next step. And we're missing out on wonderful families that would help our community. Okay. So I'm for Pillsbury Commons.
Thank you. Thank you. And as a matter on the agenda, I'd like to also note for the record that the members of the City Council and the Planning Commission, the HRA, have all received a copy of a letter and/or email from the following persons regarding Pillsbury Commons, which will be included in the record. Susan Anderson of 7530 Pillsbury, dated 5/29/12, all went to the council. Amy Utley at 7530 Pillsbury on 5/29, and on 6/5 went to the council, the HRA, and the Planning Commission. So those are read into the record. And that concludes all the items for the forum. If everybody would please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for the approval of the Special City Council HRA Planning Commission work session of May 21st, 2012, the Special City Council work session of May 22nd, 2012, and the regular City Council meeting of May 22nd, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have council discussion, and there's some items on here. First, we need to review the reschedule of Tuesday's August 14th City Council meeting. There's a primary election, and we're looking at meeting then on Monday, August 13th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Are council in agreement that that can work? Can work for me? Okay. Consensus? We're looking at scheduling Friday, August 17th, a city council meeting at 8:30 in the council chambers to canvass the primary election results. I had asked if we couldn't even do that at 8 a.m. to get it out of the way.
8 works for me.
It's fine.
It's get it out of the way.
Fine.
It's fine, 8 a.m., okay? Is that okay, city staff? Okay. And to cancel the August 28th regular city council meeting, I believe that has to have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
No on that one?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second on canceling the August 28th regular city council meeting. This is usually our vacation period. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. And to schedule a special city council meeting at 6 p.m. in the council chambers regarding the 2012 revised 2013 proposed budget. So we're looking at that meeting as well. Does anybody, and usually we like to do it, can staff give us some direction on when we would have the budget to be able to review it before then?
Well, the budget would be ready for review anytime that week of August 28th. I suspect that if you're going to cancel the meeting of the 28th, you certainly don't want to book anything for yourselves up until, after that. I thought
There was a date in,
we had a couple of...
like September 6th or 7th or something?
The dates on the memo were
Yes.
August 29th, which is a Wednesday, August 30th, which is a Thursday, or the following week, Wednesday, September 4th, or Thursday, September 5th. Those were the 4 dates, yeah.
And I would suggest you do it in September, because again, you're going to defeat the purpose of taking your, canceling your 28th meeting.
September 5th would be after Labor Day, right? I didn't look at the calendar.
Labor Day is September 3rd.
Yeah, and it gives you enough time to do the budget and still adopt the preliminary levy in time.
Does September 5th then works for me? Somebody?
September 5th is also the Transportation Commission meeting,
And what was the other date in September?
the 4th, the Tuesday. But I don't know if people may be coming back from somewhere on later.
I'm back, but
I would rather keep it on the 5th.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think I work Tuesday night.
Okay. All right, I'm fine with the 5th.
I'm
then.
fine with
School's back,
doing
so I think I'm
Okay.
working.
the 5th? I can do the 5th. Can we work?
Oh,
Okay.
need a motion?
We don't need a motion for that, do we? No. No, please.
I don't know that you need a motion
No.
for it.
Nope.
Okay.
You can
September 5th.
we can just set it for September
August
5th.
Okay, September 5th.
I mean, September 5th.
Okay, all right. Oh. And then we're going off over to hats off to Hometown Hits. I want to, first of all, I want to thank the staff, and I bet some of the folks in the audience here were at the open house that happened for the City Hall, the official open house and dedication and the time capsule. Oh, well, we're here.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, sorry, you're ahead of me.
That's all right,
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Didn't you have good things? I hope you have good things to say, too. I just wanted to say that was, I think the helicopter was very impressive, but so were the dogs. I also watched the rollover accident, and then we had, popcorn from our Richfield ambassadors. We had some past council members here, too. It was really great to see Vern Luderman was here at the original capsule in 66, right? 66. So,
Lutinger, yeah.
Lutinger. So he was here, and that was really interesting to hear his perspective when he saw the things come out of the capsule. And now, do we have the capsule stuff out on one of our displays yet, City Manager?
We don't have it yet, but we're going to.
Okay.
They're working on it.
Okay. And it was really interesting to see there was a Bible in there.
Yeah,
That was
the Bible. Actually, the Bible that used to be used by the city council in the old city hall, they always had the Bible at the council meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And then there were lots of documentation stuff. There was an old city budget and everything like this. It's kind of sad to see the difference of our budgets and how much they've increased. So it was a great day. It was beautiful weather. There's lots of festivities for the kids to do with the fire department. They were very active, so was our police. There was a lot of staff involvement. I want to thank the staff. You made this a wonderful, wonderful day for everyone. Thank you for your hard work. Really appreciate that. With that, we have another great community event coming up, and that is the 4th of July. And I was going to ask, can I get council member just to put this up? We're going to be selling 4th of July buttons. Here's your discount, $5. We're going to be selling them here at the liquor stores. We're going to be selling them here at the City Hall, and we'll be selling them at the Senior Center as well. Did I get all of the places we're selling those? So you can see all the discounts you can get to. If you buy those buttons, come in, and you get a discount to get into the street dance as well.
It's free.
It's free if you buy the button. So you still have to buy the beer. And by the way, I'll be serving the beer, so I know who you are.
And I'll be checking your ID at the door.
Now, you're doing IDs, okay? And I'm always in selling the beer. So please come to the 4th of July event, and also buy your buttons, because that helps support this great 4th of July. We all need volunteers and help. So if you want to, you can get up online and Google Richfield's 4th of July, and you can sign up to volunteer if you want to put an hour or 2 hours in. This makes this event part of your community, and if you volunteer, we'll be able to keep this for many more years. So I just want to say that 4th of July, you have to Google it. On the 4th of July, it's online. Yes, you can. You can. There's ways to do that right online. We need more help. We need about 20 more people. Could really be great if we could have some more community involvement.
Well, you said it. It's we have new chairman this year, and they really need some volunteers that will help make this thing the event that it's been every year. So please help. You
can volunteer in as little as an hour or 2 hours, and that helps so much. And it's actually usually a lot of fun, because usually your neighbors, and if they're not, they're your new friends when you make them. It's really a great time. So I appreciate it. That's what I have. I'll start down this end.
Couple things. I think that Andrew's done a wonderful job of soliciting assistance from everyone on the city council, because I've got my 7:30 to 9:30 slot also.
Oh, okay.
And I did want to say too, it was kind of a nostalgia. I was here when the mayor was opening the
time
capsule from 1966, and there was a 1966 phone book in there, and I felt obligated to open it to Elliot's section, and I showed the mayor Mrs. Eloise Elliott at 7538 Pleasant. By that time, I'd already escaped the clutches of home and my older sister, but listed my brother Tom, who was 12, and Peg, who was 15, and you know, we've all been around a long time, and those things shouldn't matter, but I thought it was kind of cool to see that, and I was really happy to find it in there, because it was interesting to see. It's a part of the history of my family.
Yeah.
All I can say is you must be a really old man, because I was still in the book.
You know what? I was over fighting the war for you in '66, so.
That's wonderful.
I just was so pleasantly pleased by the celebration. I didn't know what to expect when we had the open house here, and I too would like to really thank staff. It was well done. It was much more than I thought it was going to be, and it was fun watching the kids out there. This the thing that the Highway Patrol had, where they put almost a full-size dummy in the, in this,
Oh, wasn't that fascinating?
yeah, and it showed what happened if you don't have a seatbelt, and it'll just keep flipping around, and eventually the body comes flying out at you.
Yeah.
And, I mean, stuff like that. The helicopter was awesome. It went over the trees by the fire department and came and landed in there. And popcorn was great. The root beer was cold. How else could you?
Yeah,
You know, it was it was fun. I'm glad I came.
I too. Councilmember Sandel?
Thank you. And I would concur with congratulations to staff and all the people that worked on it. It was a great event. But it's not over because we still have other events going on. I just wanted to let people know the Augsburg Park Music in the Parks program is going on. And on Thursday, June 14th this week at 7 o'clock, you can hear Bill Giese and the New Deal at the Augsburg Park, in the park area underneath the trees where they have the music. So put it on your calendar. Those are great events, and they go on almost every Thursday, I think, for the rest of the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to talk about our Memorial Day celebration at our All Veterans Memorial. We saw you there.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic and getting bigger every year.
Yes, it is.
The people enjoyed it, and I think next year will be better because we'll have the rest of the devices in place. But it seems to be we're drawing more out of the different areas now. We see a lot of people that showed up that weren't from Richfield, but say, hey, this is really cool. I'm glad Richfield's doing it. So I'm proud of the fact that we got it and that we're celebrating it.
That's wonderful. Okay. I'd ask council approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The agenda is accepted. We have the consent calendar. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The consent calendar, for those in the audience, both here and on television, contains several separate items which are acted upon by the City Council in one motion. Once the consent calendar has been approved, the individual items and the recommended actions will also have been approved, and no further council action on those items will be necessary. Tonight we have several items on the consent calendar, beginning with consideration of approval of a new therapeutic massage enterprise license for Salon of St. George at 6625 Lindale Avenue. We have item B, consideration of approval of resolution establishing absentee ballot counting board for state primary and general elections. Item C, consideration of approval of resolution appointing election judges for August 14th, 2012 primary election and November 6th, 2012 general election. Item D, consideration of approval of resolution authorizing the use of ES&S Central Counter Model 650 for the tabulation of all absentee ballots for the state primary and general elections. Item E is consideration of approval of purchase of a high-pressure sewer flushing machine and chassis for use by the Wastewater Maintenance Division, consisting of high-pressure sewer flushing machine from Flexible Pipe Tool Company for $115,250.79, and chassis from Asselford International Trucks for $74,943.07, for a total amount of $190,193.86. Item F is consideration of approval of award of contract to Bulick Custom Rock to install the remaining concrete features and glass centerpieces for the final phase of Honoring All Veterans Memorial in the amount of $178,354. Item G is consideration of approval of award of contract to Choice Electrical to install pathway and flagpole lighting for the remaining phase of the Honoring All Veterans Memorial in an amount of $24,800. And finally, consideration of approval of award of contract to Clearwater Recreation, LLC, to replace the play equipment at Roosevelt Park in an amount of $63,500. And that concludes tonight's consent calendar.
I'll move the calendar.
Second.
Just because I know that there's somebody else who's dying to see what a wastewater division consisting of a high-pressure sewer flush machine flexible pipe tool is, we have pictures. And we have our engineering department here. Please introduce yourself, Mike.
Hi. Yeah, Mike Easling. I'm the Public Works Director, and I've got Robert Hinchin, the Utility Superintendent, with me tonight. And this piece of equipment that you see up on the camera here is probably the key piece of equipment for our wastewater division. That takes all the wastewater flow, the sewer flow that comes from the houses, and we can regularly clean the pipes with this thing by just sending this jetter up the pipe. But if there's a blockage, this is the thing that unplugs it and keeps water from getting into basements, or if it's there to get the water back out of the basement. So it's just really key. And we got a couple of things that maybe what it looks like from the inside, and I'd invite Robert and anybody that has any questions, here's a section of the saw, the device that goes through, that can cut through the roots and take out. And here's an example of the kind of thing that we can pull out of there. But we can get things cleaned up in a hurry. It's a big, powerful piece of equipment. And anybody with any questions, Robert, I'm sure could answer them.
So we're all excited about your new equipment.
We are. We're excited.
I'm sure you are. So, but it might, you know what? You may not think about this now, but it might be your house that the ones that's backed up with the water in, right? And aren't you glad we now have this? Yeah. If it's your house, you're certainly going to be glad. Thank you. I'm a civil engineer. I love this stuff. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is public hearing regarding the issuance of a new on-sale intoxicating and Sunday liquor license with outside seating for Pizza Luce, the 7th Inc., doing business as Pizza Luce, 800 West 66th Street. This is a license, will be the 7th restaurant bearing the name Pizza Luce. Other locations are in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Hopkins, Duluth. Pizza Luce has not operated previously in Richfield. I'm seeing the construction keeps going. It's exciting. The location of the establishment is the old operating previously in Richfield, is the old Bridgman's building. The new renovated building will have a restaurant, bar, and outside patio seating service. There will also be the basement party room. The applicant has satisfied the following requirements, and they're so excited they're up here waiting to talk to us. The required license fee have been paid. The real estate taxes are not delinquent. Proof of commercial liability insurance has been received, showing Mid-Century Insurance Company affordable coverage. A certificate will be provided for the liquor liability to include the exterior patio as well as the workers' compensation insurance prior to the equipment installation of the stocking of the food and the shelves and the beverage in July. The approval of their license tonight is contingent on being supplied. As a result of this being a new request on an on-sale intoxicating liquor license, there's no need for an accountant statement to be submitted requiring the food-alcohol ratio. The public safety background investigation has been completed. The results of the investigation are summarized in an attachment to the report. The Public Safety Director has reviewed the background investigation report, and none of the information in the report would cause the Public Safety Director to recommend denial of the license. On-sale intoxicating Sunday liquor license require owners of these establishments to comply with Resolution 9511, which outlines the discipline that they can expect if ongoing issues occur. A copy of the resolution has been given to the owners of the establishment. There is no distance requirements to notify neighbors of the issuance of a renewal of an on-sale intoxicating Sunday license. The critical issue is a certificate of liquor liability insurance to include coverage of the outside patio area, as well as workers' compensation insurance must be submitted prior to installation of equipment or stocking of any food or beverages. And we all received a rather lengthy report that we usually get with a summary of background and investigation reports. Looks very well. So this is a public hearing, so I'm conducting a public hearing, and it looks like we have the owners who would like to come speak first, so please, this is a public hearing. State your name, your address, and what you want to talk about.
Hi, my name is JJ Haywood, and I'm the CEO of Pizza Luce, and we're at 800 West 66th Street. And I'm ready for questions, I think. We're excited to be here in Richfield. Many people have asked us when we're opening. We think it's going to be the week of July 30th. We've run into a few little issues with the site.
We saw some extra work look like it was going on there.
Yeah.
So, okay. We are excited about that, too. So are we going to have a pizza cutting to open that?
Pizza cutting. Good one. I haven't thought of that. It is a good idea. We might have to borrow that.
Okay. Did anybody else of the group want to say anything?
Sure. I've brought along Laura, my business partner and chief of ops. I brought Matt, who is going to be the general manager
Matt.
of Pizza Luce Richfield, and Dennis is somewhere. He's hiding out there.
He's waiting. I saw him. He's out there.
He's our area director. But go
Okay.
ahead, Laura.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that we are really excited to come to Richfield, and we had our first of 2 hiring fairs today, and I think we ended up with 23, maybe, about that for today.
Oh, wow.
So it was
Wonderful.
very exciting. I was
Yes,
doing
yes.
the first line of interviews, which I haven't done in a little while, so
Okay.
it was kind of fun. I was, weeding
Okay.
out people to send to him for the maybes and the yays. So
Okay.
I
All
think we found a couple of really cool people, and we're really excited. So
Okay,
it's
thanks.
good.
Thanks for coming.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, ask a question.
How many people do you plan on employing and the breakdown of part-time, full-time, or
Probably 90-ish.
really?
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
How many would be full-time? And as well-
Mostly full-time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Good luck.
Yes.
You need a little.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This is a public hearing, so I'm going to ask that if anybody else wants to come forward to speak to this issue at all. Anyone at all want to come to speak regarding Pizza Luce? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have conducted the public hearing, and by motion, I would like to make a motion to approve the issuance of a new on-sale intoxicating and Sunday liquor license with outside seating for Pizza Luce the 7th, Inc., doing business as Pizza Luce, 800 West 66th Street, Richfield, Minnesota, contingent on the applicant providing proof of required insurance.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you, Richfield.
We love our Richfield businesses. This next item, item number 6, is consideration of a closed meeting to consider the purchase agreement of the Richfield Properties, 1, limited partnership doing business as Ron Clark Construction, Design and Conley Development for purchase of parcels referenced as C1 and C2. This is consideration for either to accept or reject an extended counter offer proposal as a purchase agreement, and to consider first reading of an ordinance providing for sale of certain real properties of the city and schedule second readings of June 22nd. So on June 14th, 2011, the City Council approved and entered into an option agreement for the sale of a portion of the former city garage site to Ron Clark Design and Construction. On May 8th, Ron Clark submitted a purchase agreement for the remainder of the city garage site referenced as C1, as well as a small city-owned property in the northwest corner of the block, C2. The value of these city-owned properties was determined as a result of an appraisal done by Borgland Appraisals in 2011 and independently confirmed by Review Appraisal from Paul Johnson on March 2012. The appraised value of $531,000 identified. The appraisal encompassed all the publicly owned land on the site, inclusive of the land owned by the Richfield HRA. This value was based on a number of assumptions, including the highest and best use as medium to high density residential, and that the buildings on the site served as financial liability, resulting in the deduction of estimated demolition costs from the value. On a prorated basis, staff has allocated the appraised value to the two properties in questions as parcel C1 as $12,983 and parcel C2 as $104,097 for a total of $117,080. Purchase agreement submitted by Ron Clark indicates a purchase price of $116,505 with $1,000 in earnest money. Staff believes that it is Ron Clark's intent to offer the appraised value for the property, and that any deviation is due to methodology of calculation, which could be resolved if the council accepts the purchase agreement. There are a number of potential reasons for the City Council to either accept or the purchase agreement reject the purchase agreement to make a counteroffer, including among the rationale would be potential reasons to accept the purchase agreement with the offer is consistent for the appraised value. The purpose used is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The proposed project is consistent with some of the guidelines of corridor housing initiative, including affordable housing for low and middle income families and 2 and 3 bedroom units. Potential reasons to reject the purchase agreement: lacking a formal policy or even informal consensus on appropriate mix of affordable housing for the city of Richfield. The desire to wait until the property value appreciates. Desire to wait until the housing models and our sale, different income mix, more townhomes are more feasible. Proposed project is inconsistent with some of the guidelines of the corridor housing initiative, including exceeding 2 to 3 story and exceeding low to medium density housings. At this time, there's a critical issue. On April 30th, 2012, Ron Clark Design and Construction, doing business as Conley Development, submitted a land use application for rezoning and continued use permit. Such an application requires the consent of the property owner. For purposes of processing the land use application, a city council action which indicates a willingness to sell the properties will be interpreted as such a consent. At this time, we are looking at this, and I would move for us to go to close the meeting. I would make a motion to close the meeting so we could go and have a discussion regarding the agreement. And does city staff have comments?
No, the only comment is that before the council goes into closed session, you must have a motion and that you must state the reason, which is to consider the offers that have been made on C1 and C2. There won't be any discussion of C3, the option agreement property, during the meeting.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion to close the meeting to consider the purchase agreement from the Richfield Properties 1 Limited Partnership for purchase of parcels referenced as C1 and C2.
Second.
Are there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I have a question though before we, are you going to be in there? 'Cause-
Yeah. Well,
So I can ask a question about C3.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be, it's nothing that we are going to be voting on.
Well, I'll be in the meeting. The council can't close to discuss C3 unless in some way it relates to the offer or the consideration of the offers on C1 and C2.
Okay, it does.
Okay. All right. We will return in a few minutes if you'd like to wait after we've had some time to deliberate in closed session. Please wait for us. I'd like to reconvene the city council meeting here, and we'll continue the meeting. I'd ask that the crowd please respectfully not comment or make any gestures as we move forward here, as I make a motion. I will make the motion then to reject the counter proposal to the purchase agreement from Ron Clark for the potential reasons that we listed before, lacking a formal policy or even an informal consensus on appropriate mix of affordable housing for the city of Richfield, the desire to wait until the property value appreciates, the desire to wait until other housing models for sale, different income mixes such as townhomes are more feasible, and the proposed project is inconsistent with some of the guidelines of the Corridor Housing Initiative, including exceeding the 2 to 3 story and exceeding low to medium density. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any other comments or questions? Please.
Thank you, appreciate that. I will not be supporting this motion. There are some things about it that I like and some things about it that I don't like. And I just want to let people know I have received comments from both sides of the aisle. If you're opposed to the project, you need to know that, as you heard tonight, there are other people that are in support of it. Obviously, the votes aren't there. But I do want to let people know, I think one of the benefits of this development, or something similar if we go forward in the future, is to provide 2 and 3 bedroom units, which we do need in Richfield particularly. This was workforce housing, people that have jobs. My own son works for a nonprofit corporation. He's got a degree. He would be qualified to live in this apartment. These are not necessarily people that are on welfare. And the other piece we just heard about, the 90 jobs that Pizza Luce is trying to recruit people for. Those may have been people that could have lived in this housing. So I think we do need upscale housing, and we certainly need upscale rental housing in this community, and this project would have provided it. We talked as a council about the fact that it is 100% workforce housing. I think in the long run, if we're including affordable housing, I think it makes sense to do a split, not necessarily 100%. But the project before us did provide good housing for people that would be good residents of Richfield. And we know from staff that 25% of people that buy houses in Richfield are people that rent in Richfield, and they like the community and they want to stay. So I'm sorry that those residents won't be here, but we trust in the future that we get a development that will provide housing for a range of people in the city.
Other discussion? Councilmember Rogie.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with Councilmember Sandel, but I really am adamantly looking to be more upscale housing mixed with affordable housing or workforce housing, whatever it wants to be called. I think we got to have people that come here that have disposable income that can help create the ability to go to Pizza Luce and anything else we want to bring here. Because I've talked to businesses, I do try to get people to come here, and too often you get the no, we'd rather be in Bloomington, we'd rather be in Edina, and that's nothing nothing against them. We just got to decide. That's one of the things about why we don't think this project is right at the time, because we have to come up with an idea what our vision is in the future. And it has to include affordable housing, but it shouldn't be, any building in Richfield shouldn't be 100%. I also would like to see us do something, and I'll be looking into this, how we can use this Section 42 money to get with builders, with apartment complex owners here. We have some apartment complexes that are huge, and maybe this is an opportunity for them to get with the developer and get Section 42 money to rehab what they already have and get those 2 and 3 story, or 2 and 3 bedroom buildings. Most of all, and most importantly, is a 4-story building on this side of the railroad track in front of the houses is just not appropriate. The density doesn't work, and that was my first concern. For a lot of the people that I've gotten, all of the information I've gotten from emails and phone calls, and I tried to answer most of those. Didn't get all of them. I apologize for those I didn't. Was not about just affordability. It was about they want single-family houses in Richfield, and so we're going to have an issue with Met Council. Maybe the way we do it is we all get to be cooperative and we take our old apartment complexes and convert them to 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. Maybe that's how we do it. But we can't tear out all our houses. We are tearing out houses for roads and for parkways. And then we complain that we're losing, first-class family housing. We can't continue going down this road of us being the ones that tear out the houses. So hopefully we've learned a lot from this lesson. Hopefully we don't ever make decisions, as some people have said, based on this is the only offer on the table. I've learned a lot, and I hope my fellow council members have, about giving out options and tying up property for a long time, and then the argument is, well, there's no other offer on the table, or there can't be if there's an option. So I want to thank the people who took the time and effort to read, to listen, to behave, and a lot of people are going to cheer this ending, and a lot of people are going to be not happy about it. And I don't know what else to say to you. I think we're making the right decision, and we're going to make that property better than this offer was, hopefully.
And I would just like to say that for me, one of the biggest issues was lacking a formal policy, and I looked at the impact of what would happen in a neighborhood where you're going to have a 4-story building and it's not going to have inclusionary housing, and what that means to folks, and what should we be doing. And we don't have a clear policy. We don't have a clear policy if we should put a 5-story building up against where houses are, or how close, or where that needs to be, and what kind of buffers. And that's not just this project, that's across the city. I certainly believe that we need affordable housing here. I also am very concerned about the affordable housing that we do have that is very old. And I've talked to the Met Council many times about what kind of tools are you going to give cities, not just Richfield, but there's St. Louis Park and Hopkins and everybody else who's in the same boat. What kind of tools are you going to do to take those one bedrooms down and make 2- and 3-story? We don't have an answer there. So we could build lots of apartments, beautiful apartments here, and we could have a lot of those. But it still didn't address the issue that we still have those other things around, and we still need to address that, right? So I'm really concerned that we don't have something concrete here. And I also believe that inclusionary housing is probably a far better tool. However, unfortunately, some of the funding mechanisms do not support that as well either. So there's also a dichotomy in that the some of the HUD guidelines actually call for that, and then yet we don't have the financing tools for other people to use. So I really think that, too, that there's some other housing models that are coming up, that are coming back in vogue, as we see that housing right now for apartments is big, but we also see that people are starting to buy homes again. And so with that happening, we may be able to look at something else here. It's definitely residential there. We want to keep the flavor of the neighborhood. We don't want to impact people. And I think we need to look at that seriously.
I just think that everything that's been voiced by my fellow council members is well stated, and it shares thoughts and opinions that we've all had and bounced around in our own heads and bounced around with people in the audience, people that I've met in the neighborhood that have been dropping pamphlets in my home. And there was a lot of passion, a lot of strong feelings, some strong words that comes up when you have neither a formal policy or an informal consensus. And I think the key word moving forward is the formal policy is something it's necessary for the city council and the staff to put together, so there's some guidelines and some direction. The informal consensus is us working with the people in the audience on either side of this equation and trying to come up with the right ideas and put them in place and work with the right developers. And in that respect, we've learned a lot, have gnashed our teeth, have been, I'm not trying to be politically correct here. There's been some thoughts that maybe that there was something else going on, that we weren't being above board. I don't think anybody seriously believed that. I think it's perhaps the heat of the battle, and hopefully we'll walk out of here all having the same respect and concern for everybody else, so that consensus, that informal consensus we were trying to work forward or to, can work in the future, and we can work together on these things hand in hand with us making the policy decisions, but always accepting the input that necessarily has to come from the community. And in that respect, I share Fred's really sincere thanks for the information and what you brought to this equation, and including a lot of information that was provided to us and that was incorporated into our thought process and the decisions we made here tonight, and hopefully we'll make going forward. So thank you.
Council member.
For me, the fear was we're known as the urban hometown of losing our hometown. And I think that's where we need that policy to really think of what is Richfield, what has Richfield been, and to keep on that track. So.
And I also do want to thank, there were some folks who opened up their home, and I had some very, and I couldn't speak to the issue because we hadn't have anything to vote on, and of course I would never do anything that would put the city in jeopardy, but I had an awful lot of great input from a lot of people with some very respectful conversations as well too. And thank you for opening up your homes just so that I could listen, so I could have a ear of what you were thinking and what your concerns were, so I had some direction as to, we all up here are public servants, we are trying to serve you.
Mayor, if I could say one other thing.
Please.
I think one of the other things that was sad that had happened is that in the documents, and hopefully maybe these can be taken out, I don't know, but in the documents it was stated that there was going to be targeting of a population of people of color and single heads of households. And I hope that doesn't stay in there. The Minnesota Housing Finance Agency shouldn't detract from anybody if you believe in equal rights. It should be whoever needs it, whoever's there first, whatever the policy is going to be. It shouldn't have anything to do with the color of your skin or whether you're married or single or whether you have kids or not. Okay, that to me, when I had originally talked with Mr. Clark, was one of the biggest things that I just don't get, and it was explained to me that the woman who wrote that made a mistake. Well, I think we heard they don't make mistakes, okay? So I hope that if this gets back to them, that they think about taking those kind of clauses out of there. Because if people are in need of housing, it shouldn't matter what color they are. Really shouldn't, and it shouldn't matter whether you're single or married.
Okay. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. The next agenda item. The next agenda item is a consideration. Please, no outward. And please, if you're going to leave very quietly. We have more business.
Okay.
Consideration of the Richfield Bike Master Plan. In 2020.
Madam Mayor.
Please.
Madam Mayor, we haven't concluded the other part of,
So what else
this
do I
item.
need to conclude? Excuse me? Well, we won't have a first reading.
It's the item related to the option property.
Consideration of first reading.
Oh, that we're not selling, yeah, that we're not selling the
Well, we
that's right.
rejected, I said reject the counter-proposal. What is it I'm missing? Green. I don't know what I'm
Okay, there were two different ordinances before the council. One was an ordinance for the sale of the C1 and C2 properties that were not subject to an option, and the council has rejected the offers for those properties and chosen not to sell. We also had a first reading of the ordinance for the sale of the property that is subject to the option, and the staff recommendation is to approve that on first reading, which is consistent with the option agreement.
So we still have the first reading anyway? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I will make a motion to consider the first reading of the ordinance providing for the sale of the certain real property of the city to the REC, Inc., and schedule second reading for June 26, 2012.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I'd like you to explain that.
Yeah.
So we know what we're voting on.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. You entered into an option agreement which provided that the city would sell that parcel for a specified price if the optionee
Was made.
exercised the option. They have exercised the option. They are entitled under the agreement to close by June 30th if they choose to do so. And in order for that to occur, the city needs to approve the ordinance on first reading.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay.
I have a question.
Please.
Do we have an option to reject that?
No.
I guess what I'm saying, okay.
They have the option. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
breach of contract if we.
I just wanted to know where we were.
Yep.
So there's a motion before us, it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Excuse me, thank you for that clarification. I was confused. Okay, item 7 is a consideration of the Richfield Bicycle Master Plan approval. In 2010, the Richfield Transportation Commission recommended the creation of a bicycle master plan as a way to assure that the future bicycle-related policies and infrastructure within the city were guided by a comprehensive community-based planning effort. With the approval of the City Council, a task force of 20 Richfield residents was formed for the purpose of providing input and producing a bicycle master plan. The city also received a grant from the statewide health implementation program, SHIP, that was used to hire a consultant to assist in this process. So early in the planning process, the task force developed a mission statement that guided them on their efforts. The mission statement is as follows: to develop a comprehensive bicycle master plan that respects the rights and privileges of the community, connects key destinations within the city, and integrates with the Twin Cities regional bike network while promoting the friendly coexistence of bicycle riders and all the models. There was a lot of public input. Gathering the input and feedback from public was done in several manners. There were 3 open houses in public meeting style, publications of a survey in English and Spanish formats, and received 550 responses. They hosted a booth at several public events, such as the Farmers Market, the Health Expo, and the Remodeling Fair, allowing public attendance and comments and interaction at the task force meetings. So the result, the task force completed the approved and draft master plan in 2011. The plan recommendations center around the following 4 E's: education, encouragement, enforcement, and engineering. The plan identifies both preferred and alternate routes, recommendations, but design and approval of those routes would be completed individually. Appendix A that we have here, the master plan includes larger versions of the map. Potential positives identified for the plan for increased bicycle facilities are economic benefits through the increased tourism and recreation-related venues, health benefits through increased access, mobility, and physical activity, safety benefits through increased traffic awareness, enforcement, and safer infrastructure. Not to mention that people will hopefully come here to use our facilities and our restaurants and do shopping and other things as well. So after the stuff and the consultant finished revisions based on the task force comments, the draft bicycle master plan was posted for 1 month for public comment period, and an open house was held to gather more feedback. Transportation Commission also reviewed the plan during this time. Comments from the process were gathered and incorporated into plan revisions and appropriately. So the policy as a bike master plan is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, transportation strategy. Number 1, improve non-motorized and pedestrian travel in the city. So at this time, I'll make a motion, and we can have any comments. The motion is to approve the attached bicycle master plan as recommended by the Transportation Commission.
Second.
Does staff have other comments or anything that they would like to also?
No, Madam Mayor. I think the report
I want to thank staff, because I think the public outreach on this particular thing far exceeded our expectations and was far greater and better than we've seen in a long time. There's a lot of great input in this, and I know that staff worked really hard on that.
And Madam Mayor, now that I said no, I guess I will give
okay.
an extra compliment to the task force that was involved, the 20 residents that you mentioned.
Yes.
They gave a lot of their time and did a very good job.
And that, I think that made a real difference, because there was a lot of comments, an awful lot of comments, and I did attend a couple of those. So Councilmember Sandal, you're on the transportation, aren't you? Any comments?
I do. May I go up to the podium?
Please. This is exciting, because I think it'll put a lot of things together. It also helps us gather funding to make some of these things come to fruition. As we see Minneapolis and the cities of Bloomington putting their bike pathways together, we need to make sure that we're all working together on the same page.
There we go.
Yeah.
The map that's on, it should be on the
Yep,
overhead.
we can see it now.
Okay. It shows the existing approved routes, and there's, let me get my pen out here just a second. So all of these, the darker lines that you see.
Pull the mic over to you, Sue.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. All of the darker lines that you see, including this east-west one, which is actually red, are the existing routes that we now have in Richfield. And I want you to know, when I first started pushing and advocating for bicycle routes, the only route we had was this little line right there. That's it, that little line that ran just north of Wood Lake Nature Center. And the former city council and the former city manager, a number of people, we traveled to Portland to take a look at how they have done bicycles and how they've become such a good bicycle city before Minneapolis got such kudos. And what they said is you do it one block at a time, and that's what we've been doing, one block at a time. But now we have quite a few blocks, and if you look at the overall plan, let's see. That is the proposed complete bicycle plan, although there are some alternative routes on a third map, but that's a huge improvement from that one little strip that we had when we started. So I think that's a great accomplishment. Thank you to the Transportation Commission for working on it and to the Bicycle Planning Group. This will put Richfield on the map, and I have noticed a difference because I'm on this route. My house is, I can see it, it's, where am I?
Right there.
Yeah, it's in this neighborhood, right on the map on 76th Street, and I see many more bicycles going by now than I used to see, and they are families with kids, also the spandex group with their helmets on, speeding to work. So it's a real plus, and I want to thank you for all the hard work. Thank you.
And thank you, council member, too, for all your work. You know, Sue has served on the Transportation Commission for a very long time as a liaison, and she serves on several others, the 494 corridor, and all your hard work. And you certainly are an advocate for great transportation.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I really have to say this because irony comes to mind, Sue.
The old people.
Yes, because she called you an old man. I know.
The irony when you put up there and made that presentation, and I'm sitting here thinking the reason I'm up here is because I ran into you in the park across from my street with a handout saying that they were going to close Oliver for a bike path.
I remember.
And I said, "Are you all nuts?" And to see it come to fruition like this, and to see the work and everything that came together, and it seems like a long time, but it's a short time. And there's an enormous amount of work, and I think we all should be proud of the bike paths. Not only what's being presented here, but the continuation and the builds up. Some of the things that are going to go on with Three Rivers and everything else, and tying us from the Greenway all the way to the Minnesota Valley. Is just outstanding, and that's why I say it's irony. I'm sitting here thinking I ran because I thought they were going to close Oliver Avenue for a bike path.
And it's not in front of your house?
It's not even in front of my house anymore. I got to ride to get to it. So
yes. Okay, there's a motion before us. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. City Manager's report.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I really have no report this evening.
Claims and payroll.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Seeing no further business, I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.